And so we'll find ourselves on our backs, and you can lie down just in an X, you can lie down just in Shavasana, whatever feels like it enables you to just give all of your weight into the support of the floor and to really fully receive the support of the floor beneath you. Your legs might be straight, your legs might be bent. It's totally up to you, but you're going to just take the first few breath cycles here to just fall into the body, fall into the floor, and just observe and notice how you're doing today. And as you begin to settle in here, I'd like you to just start by scanning the body, noticing any points where it feels like there's a bit of constriction, a bit of contraction. And to the best of your ability, you'll just send your awareness to that part of your body, setting the intention to ask that part to relax, to release, and allow the breath to accompany it. So in yoga, teachers talk often about your attention directing where your energy goes. And in this moment, that's all you're doing. You're noticing what you notice and then sending your intention there, sending your energy there to allow that part of the body to start to soften, to start to open. And then we'll start to consciously shape our breath. So take a few moments to just audibly exhale out of your mouth. Maybe it's a sigh, maybe it's a not. And then you'll take 2 big breaths in and another 2 big breaths out, letting a big exhale, sigh accompany. Nice job. One more big breath in and an audible breath out. Begin to tone the back of your throat, closing the lips, and invite in an Ujjayi pranayama so you can start to hear the sound of the breath internally and maybe a bit externally. And you're just allowing yourself to breathe in and breathe out. And just as we did a few weeks ago, we're going to focus again on concentrating how we breathe into our body. So the next time you breathe in, see if you can breathe into the collarbones, into the upper ribs, underneath the armpits, widening into the upper ribs. And then as you exhale, slightly draw the pubic bone to the belly button to the spine. So inhaling into collarbones, into upper ribs, middle ribs. And then exhaling from the pubic bone to the navel, to the spine. And you've just got 2 more breath cycles like that, really paying attention to how the breath can enter the upper part of the torso, filling the upper lungs, and then really allowing the pelvic floor to start to support the exhalation and allowing the diaphragm to relax and float back up. And your last breath cycle here, just breathing into the collarbones, the upper ribs, the upper chest, and then exhaling pubic bone to belly button to spine. Great. From here, let's start to walk your legs towards each other and extend the legs long if they're not. Actively flex through both of your feet and bring your hands alongside your hips. We'll just take about 8 of these, and you'll inhale, reach your arms up and over your head to touch the floor behind you. And then exhale, swim the arms back, down, and alongside your hips. So they're coming straight through the midline. And you've got about 7 more of those. And you're just noticing for these first 2 how long the breath is as you inhale and reach the arms up, and how long the breath is as you airplane the arms back alongside your hips. And then we're gradually going to start to shape the breath. So the next time you inhale, the arms will lift for 5 counts up and over your head. And then you'll exhale slowly and lower the hands back alongside your heels. And then the next time it'll be a 6 count inhalation, really taking your time, flexing through the feet as you reach up through the fingers. And then as you exhale, you'll draw the pubic bone to the belly button and maybe point through the feet as you lower the arms. Yep. We've got about 2 more of those. Maybe the next one will be a 7 count inhalation, slowing down the breath to allow the collarbones to lift, the arms to reach, the feet to flex. Nice job. And then exhale, belly button to spine, pointing through the toes, lowering your arms. Nice job. And then this one might be an 8-count inhalation, slowly breathing into the collarbones, into the upper ribs and the chest, reaching out through the fingers. And then a slow exhalation to point through the toes, draw the pubic bone to the belly button to the spine. Nice job. We'll take one more set. This time you'll inhale 8 counts, reaching the arms up and overhead, really taking your time to fill up the ribs, the upper chest. This time as you exhale, go ahead and interlace the hands. Turn the heels of the hands to face away from you. Flex through the feet as best as you can. And you might hug the legs towards each other, or you might just roll the inner thighs to the floor. But you've got 4 to 5 breath cycles here. And I encourage you to inhale into the upper armpits, the collarbones, the ribs, and then exhale, pubic bone to belly button to spine. Continue to flex through your feet. And so as you're reaching out through the heels of your hands, you're still continuing to breathe into the upper chest. Hands are interlaced, and you're just noticing how energy is starting to collect in your heart space, in your chest space. Keep flexing through your feet. Keep breathing up into the upper ribs, the upper collarbones, noticing the natural start of Jalandhara Bandha, which is that chin lock. And you've got one more deep breath cycle here, breathing into upper ribs, back of the body as best as you can, flexing through your feet. And the next time you exhale, you'll unclasp the hands and release the hands alongside your hips, and just take a moment to pause and notice what you notice. How is the energy moving in the body? How is the breath feeling in the body? And then we'll go ahead and move on. Inhale, open your arms and your legs out to a giant X shape on the floor. And then as you exhale, take your right foot towards your left foot. And we'll just keep the feet right next to each other for a moment. Flex through both feet. Reach your right arm up and over towards the left and grab your right wrist with your left hand. You might then inchworm your head a little bit more towards the left so you get more of a side body stretch. And then see if you can drop your right hip, your right shoulder down towards the floor. And you might bring your left hand to your right low belly. You might bring it to your right armpit, but you've got 4 breath cycles here. And again, we're just going to continue to do what we did before. So you're going to inhale into the collarbones, into the upper ribs, the middle ribs, and then exhale, pubic bone to belly button to spine. And you've got 2 more breath cycles just like that. Feet stay active, shin bones hug in towards the midline, and your tailbone is lengthening down towards your feet. Take one more deep breath in here, just breathing into the intercostal muscles between the ribs on the right side. And on your next exhalation, you'll just release the clasp of the hand and inhale, come back to that center X shape. Take a moment to pause there and just notice if you notice anything different between the right and the left side. And then we'll go ahead and try that on the other side. So slide your left foot towards your right foot, actively flex through the feet. Reach your left arm up and overhead and draw it over to the right. Grab your left hand and then see if you can keep the feet flexed, hugging your outer shin bones in, rolling the inner thighs down, tailbone lengthens down. And then you might bring your right hand underneath your left armpit, left rib area. You might draw it down to your left low belly, wherever it feels best to you. And again, you're going to continue to see if you can breathe into the upper armpits, into the upper rib cage, and allow that left hip to settle into the floor, the left shoulder to settle into the floor. And you've got about 1 to 2 more breath cycles here, seeing if the feet can stay flexed and active. Noticing if you can keep that breath perhaps at an 8-count length. And then just noticing if you can soften any unnecessary tension here. Nice work. At the end of your exhalation, gently release your hands. And then inhale, come back to your giant X shape. Take a moment to pause and notice what you notice. And then as you're ready, keep your right arm extended alongside your ear, roll over onto your right side and come onto your abdomen. Doesn't matter which way you face, Roberta. You can turn around if you'd like your head facing the top of your space. So we're rolling onto our belly button. There we go. Cool. And when you come onto your abdomen, bring your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Bring your feet so they're about hip distance apart. And then we're going to start by just elongating through that right leg, lifting it up and away from the floor, and then putting the right foot back down onto the floor, pressing into the big toe and the pinky toe evenly. And then do the same thing on the left side. Lift up through the left leg, elongate out through it, and then put the left leg down, pressing through the big toe and the pinky toe. Now with your hands right alongside your rib cage, we're going to go back to that breath we just had. So inhale, breathe into your collarbones, into your ribs, and notice that you can start to lift your head a little bit off the floor. And then you're going to exhale, draw the pubic bone to the belly button and lower all the way back down. And you've got about 4 more of those. And we're going to work for a 5-count inhalation this time. So inhale, 5 counts, lifting into the collarbones, into the ribs, into the chest, lifting the head as much as it wants to. And then exhale, lowering all the way back down, pressing into the tops of the feet. And then you'll do that a few more times. Maybe this next one will be a 6-count inhalation. Jenny, walk your hands back just a bit. There you go. And then exhaling, lowering down. And then you'll notice that maybe you can do that as a 7-count inhalation. First, breathing into the collarbones, into the ribs, widening the ribs to lift the head. And then you slowly lower all the way back down. And then your next one might be an 8-count inhalation, and you keep pressing down through the feet as you breathe into the collarbones, as you breathe into the upper ribs, and notice that you can hug the shoulders back, and then exhale, lower all the way down. And this next one, we're going to come up and we're going to stay. So you're going to inhale for 8 counts, coming up into that baby cobra shape. And you'll notice that once you get to your apex, you'll pause. Inhale here, continuing to breathe into collarbones, into ribs. As you exhale, pubic bone to belly button. Inhale, press into your pinky toes, into your big toes. Lift into the collarbones a bit more. Yep. Exhale, hug the elbows towards each other, shoulder blades into heart, pubic bone to navel. You got 2 more just like that. Inhaling 8 counts into the collarbones, into the ribs. There you go, Tim. As you exhale, lengthen that tailbone back. Keep pressing into the tops of the feet and drawing your navel to the spine. And for this last one, you'll just breathe here, seeing if you can rotate around the shoulder blades to lift the chest. There you go, Erica, there you go, Steve, to find a little bit more upper extension. Nice, Barbara. And then on your next exhalation, you'll just lower all the way down and take a moment to pause and take a moment to breathe. Go ahead and cactus your arms out to the right and to the left, and just take a moment to pause, checking in with that low back. The concern was with the low back. So this articulation up through the front part of the spine often helps. And then that engagement of the pubic bone to the belly button also often helps. Now, keep your arms cactused at a 90-degree. Go ahead and look at your right hand. Slide your right hand elbow over to the right, just about an inch or 2. And then turn and look back at your left hand. Step your left hand underneath your left elbow, come to the tips of your fingertips, and then you'll start to roll towards your right. Now with your right elbow bent like this, you're not going to get very far, and that's okay. You want to just pause and you want to breathe and you want to notice what you notice happening across pec major and pec minor. So that's the spot that goes from your nipple to your arm, and you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Awesome sauce. See if that breath can come back to a long, extended count. And then on your next in-breath, you'll gently roll back to your abdomen. Cactus the arms once again. And then look at the left hand, left elbow. Slide your left hand, left elbow a little bit to the left. Look back towards the right hand, step the right hand underneath the right shoulder or elbow, and then start to push down into your right fingertips as you roll towards the left. And with that left elbow bent, you're not going to get very far. That's okay, but just breathe into the chest, breathe into that spot between the armpit and the nipple. And then you'll notice that some of you will lift your head a little bit and some of you will lower the head a little bit. And you're just saying, hello, pec major, hello, pec minor. How are you doing today? Take 2 more breath cycles here. And then at the end of your next exhalation, you'll gently come back onto your bellies. Nice work. From here, step your hands underneath your shoulders. Go ahead and tuck your toes under and inhale, come up to hands and knees. Now, depending upon how you're feeling today, you might want to pad your knees with a blanket. And we're going to take toe squats. So Steve, you can go ahead and turn around if you'd like. And so you might pad your knees with the blanket or you might not. We're going to do a little bit of what we did last week because this just helped mobilize our shoulders. So once you're in toe squat with your pinky toes tucked under so they won't escape, bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. We're going to take about 5 sets of these. So inhale, open your arms out to the right and to the left. As you exhale, squeeze your shoulders onto your back, bend your elbows. Inhale, reach out through your fingers to lift your arms out and up. And then exhale, press the palms together and draw them through heart center. And we've got 4 more sets just like that. So big inhalation opens the arms out like you're a ballet court dancer. Exhale, bending the elbows like you're collecting a bunch of leaves. Inhale, reach out through the fingers like you're gathering something. I don't know what. And then exhale, draw your hands through heart center. Okay, you've got 3 more sets on your own. As you inhale, see how long you can make your inhalation. As you exhale, see how long you can make your exhalation, drawing the front ribs back, shoulders onto your back body. Inhale, reaching out through the fingers, lengthening up, maybe even looking up. And then exhale, hands through heart center. 2 more times, and we're just following the breath. Inhale, unfurling the arms. Exhale, squeezing the shoulder blades, hugging the elbows into waist. Inhale, reaching out through fingers, feeling the shoulder blades slide along your back. And then exhale, pressing the palms together as you draw them to heart center. Last one. Inhale, arms unfurl out. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back and lift your sternum. Inhale, tailbone lengthens down as the arms reach out and up. And then exhale, hands through heart center. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and come forward onto your hands and knees. Extend the tops of your feet to the floor and pitter patter your toes, having a happy little temper tantrum if that suits you. And then once you are complete with that, you'll shift your weight back and take a counter stretch, maybe lifting one or both knees up and away from the floor, depending upon how this feels on your knees, your shins, and your ankles. And then once you feel complete with that, we'll come forward and we'll take a quick navicular stretch once again, because I think you all seemed to like that last week. So come forward, hands and knees. Separate your knees wider than your hips. Take your right foot towards your left foot. Lift your left foot up. Bring your left foot into the arch of your right foot and press your pelvis back. And then from there, you'll sit up. So Tim, one foot crosses over the other. So you're really in the soles of your feet. And then you sit back. So it's almost like a little baby. Your feet are crossed right on top of each other like that. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll come forward and you'll switch sides. And you're just taking a moment to pause and you're taking a moment to breathe. So this week I've been listening to things by Kristen Neff. If you are unfamiliar with her, she's one of the psychologists that promoted self-compassion. And it's very interesting to listen to her talk about self-compassion because she talks about it in 2 ways. Go ahead and inhale and come forward to hands and knees. And then from here, we'll find our chakra vakrasana. So once you find yourself on hands and knees, you'll go ahead and inhale, lift your gaze just a little bit. As you exhale, tops of the feet to the floor, press back to that modified child's pose. Yep. And then inhale, you'll come forward to hands and knees once again. And as you exhale, you'll tuck your toes under, lift your hips high, downward facing dog. Keep your knees super bent. Awesome sauce. Inhale, come forward, hands and knees. And then you'll exhale and press back. So that counts as one round of Chakravarkrasana. We'll take that about 4 more times. The next time you inhale and come forward, see if you can make it a 5-count inhalation. And then as you exhale back to down dog, see if you can make that a 5-count exhalation, keeping the knees as bent as they need to. And then you'll inhale when you're ready, coming forward 5 counts to hands and knees once again. And then you'll exhale, press back to that modified child's pose, 5 counts. Great. You've got about 3 more rounds on your own, and you'll see if this next one can elongate to a 6-count inhalation and a 6-count exhalation. And you just take your time. I've been given the feedback that I'm not always cueing how long the breath should be. So you guys just follow your breath pace, and I will follow you. In the meantime, I will chit chat in a little bit. So as you're doing this, notice how you can start to connect your breath with your movement by really slowing down and counting the length of your breath. You might begin to notice that the movement itself slows down, but also the mind slows down. It has to in order to really concentrate on how long the breath is, and in order to coordinate the movement and the breath and the count. Nice job. Maybe this next one is about 7 or 8 counts. And I say 7 or 8 because we're working to stay in a state of comfort. So even though we're extending the breath, we're also trying to work within our capacities. After you have completed your 8-count exhalation, we'll just go ahead and hang out in downward facing dog. So you just keep working at your own pace. And once you've finished your 4 cycles and you're at that 8-count exhalation, you'll just hang out in downward facing dog and we'll all meet there. So the thing about compassion, as I've been learning from Kristen Neff, is this: it comes to 2 things. The first is that we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to self-soothe at times. We need to really mother ourselves or father ourselves or parent ourselves in a way that we might not have been parented as children. And at the same time, we need to also be able to see clearly so that we can really adjust. So as you're now here in downward facing dog, let's all bend our knees just a bit. With your knees super bent, I want you to press down into the index finger and thumbs of your hands. Hug those points towards each other isometrically, like you're trying to squeeze your mat towards each other, towards the midline, and then push down through the hands, push down through the shoulders, and lift up through your hips, finding that elongation. Keep the knees bent and send the inner thighs back a little bit more, and then draw your outer hips up, and then you might begin to straighten the legs if you'd like, reaching the soles of the feet back behind you and maybe towards the floor. Nice work. Go ahead and come to stillness if you're in movement. And then inhale, gaze to your hands. As you exhale, bend your knees and travel to your hands. Nice work. Once you get there, separate your feet about hip distance apart and take a moment to breathe. So our breath is that moment, that opportunity in which we can not only reflect about what's going on, but we can also provide ourselves a bit of self-compassion, self-love. So as best as you can, continue to breathe into the collarbones, into the ribs, into that space around the heart. And as you exhale, continue to draw pubic bone to belly button to spine. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and add on. Inhale, lift your spine halfway. Draw your hands to the tops of your shins and bend your knees as much as you need to draw your spine parallel to the floor. Now we're going to stay here for about 3 to 5 breaths. A lot of the concern was over the low back. So I want you to draw your shoulders away from your ears. Lift the back of your head straight up so it is parallel to the floor. And then notice for these next 3 to 5 breath cycles that some of you can draw your hands to your hips. And if you've done that, draw the shoulder blades onto your back body and then lift the back of your head straight up. Like for some reason, there you go. I put a block on your head and I'm pushing the block into the back of your head and you're pushing your head into the back of the block. Ah, there we go. And you've got 3 more breath cycles here. You're doing it, Sandy. 3 more breath cycles here. Roberta, see if you can lift the back of your heart a little bit more. Yep, and then your head. Okay. On your next inhalation, go ahead and come all the way up to stand. And then gently release your hands alongside your hips and just notice what you notice here. Take a moment to just establish the foundation in your feet and then transfer all the weight over to your right foot. Draw your left knee into your chest, hold your left shin bone with your hands and draw that knee as close to your face as possible. And from here, you might stay here, or you might start to circle out through that left ankle if that feels like that's good to you. We're just trying to establish a sense of balance. And so we're noticing what we notice here. Okay, and if you've gone one direction, go the other, and then notice if you've stopped breathing and see if we can come back to that. And then very gently, you'll release the left foot to the floor. Like a sandbag, pour all the weight over into your left leg to float the right leg up. Draw your right knee into your chest, hands to the front of the shin bone. Whoa. And then see if you can just find a bit of stability here. And so if the ankle is moving or if it's not, is not important. What's important though is, are you breathing? Us taking a moment to breathe is always one of the first steps of being self-compassionate. It also helps us really see things clearly so that we can actually adjust as need be. And if you've gone one way, please make sure you've gone both directions. Cool. And then when you are complete with that, go ahead and release the foot to the floor. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. So make sure you can still see me. So some of you will have to turn right and some of you will have to turn to the left. And then you're going to separate your feet about 3 feet, maybe 4 feet apart. It depends upon how long your legs are. And then open your arms out to the right and to the left. So we're going to still continue to work on this. So as you inhale, you're going to reach up through your left arm. And as you exhale, side bend to the right. Maybe right hand comes to the waist. And then you'll inhale and come back up through center, both arms out. And exhale, go to the other side. So left hand maybe comes to left hip. Right arm reaches up and overhead. And we've got about 4 more sets of those. So inhaling both arms out to the side and exhaling to the right. And inhaling, coming back up through center. And exhaling over to the left. So as you take these last 3 sets on your own, I'd like you to notice how slow you can make this. So maybe making the exhalation, maybe 6 counts over to the right. And then the inhalation is as long as it needs to be. And then maybe 6 counts over to the left. And the inhalation as long as it needs to be. And for these last 2 sets, you'll keep at that pace. And you'll just notice what you notice, finding that long, long, even breath. Finding a nice lateral stretch. Okay, one more time to the right. And one more time to the left. Okay, and then the next time you go to the right, we're going to stay there. So I encourage you to bring the right hand to the right hip if that helps you. And you'll just push your right hand into your right hip into your right hand, press down into your left foot. Lengthen your tailbone down to your left foot and draw your pubic bone to your belly button to your spine. Again, breathe into the upper collarbones, the upper ribs, the upper chest. And it feels like you rotate just your right low ribs forward, your left low ribs back just a little bit to make sure you're completely stacked. And then you'll inhale and come up through center. And you'll exhale and go to the other side, left hand to left hip, right hand up and overhead. So the left hand pushes into the left hip presses into the left hand, press into your right foot, lengthen your tailbone down to your right foot, draw your low belly in and rotate the left ribs under. So the right ribs stack right on top and say hello, latissimus dorsi, hello, QL, hello, psoas. Next in breath, you'll start to come up. And then you'll exhale and just lower the hands and notice what you notice. I notice it for me. I feel a lot of energy moving around. And so you'll just see if that's true for you. And then we'll go ahead and add on. Turn your right toes to face the top of your space. And you're going to step your left foot forward just a bit. Turn your left toes in so they're pointing towards the upper left corner of your mat. So we're working for a triangle pose, and you want to have your feet as far apart as possible. And with our legs a little bit wider like this, it'll help us with the pose that we're getting to a little later. So inhale, go ahead and reach up through your right arm. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, reach your right hand forward and down, and it might come to the top of your ankle, it might come to a block, it might come to the floor. It depends upon where it works for you. From here, press down into the back foot, push down into the front foot, and see if you can rotate your rib cage, your chest more towards the left. Now reach your left hand back, turn your palm to face forward, and then inhale, sweep your left arm up and over your head. And exhale, swim the arm back. And we've got 4 more of those. The next time you inhale, see if it can be a 5-count inhalation, sweeping the arm up and over your head. And then as you exhale, draw the tailbone to the inner left thigh, belly button to the spine, rotate your ribs, your right ribs forward. And then a few more. Maybe this next one is a 6-count inhalation, lengthening out through the side body as the left arm swims over your head. And then exhale, navel to spine, low belly turns to the left. Maybe gaze comes up towards the top shoulder or the ceiling. Awesome sauce. And maybe this next one is 7 counts. Long, big breath in, sweeping your left arm up and overhead. And then you'll exhale, swim the arm back, pubic bone to belly button, navel to spine. Awesome sauce. And this last one might be an 8-count inhalation, swimming the arm up and overhead. My hypermobile person, please make sure you're bending a little bit into the front knee. And then exhale, swimming the arm back. Okay. This time, let's go ahead and inhale and swim your left arm so it's directly opposite to your right. And then you'll just stay here about 3 to 5 breaths. And you can turn your head down towards the floor if it feels like that releases your neck. You can also keep your head neutral or turn your head up towards the top hand if that feels okay. But you're going to continue to push into the knife edge of your back foot, that's your left foot. You're going to push into the big toe mound of your front foot, that's your right foot. Continue to lengthen your tailbone in and see if you can find a little bit of length on your underside body. Nice work, guys. Next, in breath, go ahead and gaze down to your right hand, right foot. Bend your right knee. Start to swim your left arm back and come up for warrior 2. Now we've separated our feet. So you'll notice that your left hip might be coming forward a little bit, and that's okay. We're just gonna see if we can be there. Squeeze your back butt cheek, press down into the big toe mound of your front foot, hug your feet towards each other until you feel a tone on the inside edge of your thighs. Awesome sauce. Very gently, go ahead and straighten the front leg long. If you have a block, you might need to remove it. Turn your toes in so they're parallel towards one another. And then we'll go ahead and take that on the other side. So you might step or rather turn your left toes to face the back of your space. Step your right foot forward. Turn your right toes in a little bit. So now they're pointing towards the back, I guess now left or right corner of your mat. And then you'll reach up through your left arm. As you exhale, start to hinge at the hips, reach forward through your left hand, lowering the left hand to the top of the foot, the shin, the block, or the floor. And then you'll take a moment to push down into your left hand, push down into your left foot, and see if you can rotate your rib cage to the right. Great. Reach back through your right hand, turn your palm to face forward, and then inhale, swim your right arm up and overhead, or sweep it up and overhead. And exhale, draw the hand back alongside your hips. And you've got 4 more of those. So this next in-breath might be a 5-count inhalation. Maybe gaze follows the top hand. And then exhale, navel to spine. Rotate the rib cage slightly under on the left side. And then maybe the next one is a 6 count inhalation. And you're just following your breath. And exhale, tailbone into inner right thigh, arm swims back. And then maybe the next one is a 7 count inhalation. Nice job, guys. Arm swims alongside your ears. And then exhaling, swimming the arm back. Pubic bone lengthens or pulls up to navel, navel to spine. And then maybe this next one is an 8 count inhalation. Slowly reaching the arm up and overhead. And exhaling it back. Nice job, guys. Now this next time you'll go ahead and inhale, swim the arm up and overhead for just a moment in triangle. We're going to take 4 breaths here. Now as you're here, push down into your front left big toe. Press into your back right pinky toe. Hug those points together. Continue to draw your outer left hip back. And then tailbone into inner right thigh. As best as you can, see if you can draw your left ribs under your right ribs up so the shoulders stack a little bit more. Nice job, guys. Next, in breath, go ahead and take your gaze down to the bottom front foot, bend your front knee, and come up for warrior 2. Yeah, nice job. And then you'll notice here that your hips are probably a little bit more towards the upper right corner than you would normally have them, and that's okay. Make sure your shoulders are in alignment with your hips, so they might not be parallel to the long edge of your mat. That's okay. That takes out some of the crunkiness in the back. And then when you're ready, go ahead and straighten the front leg long. Remove that block if you've got it. Turn both feet so they're parallel to the short edges of your mat. Awesome sauce. And then just take a moment to pause here. When you're ready, you can step or jump your feet together. Yay! And then turn to face like that little cheerleading move. And then turn to face the top of your space. So this is both to help low back stuff, but it might also not feel so good for low back stuff. So I want you to watch me do this. This makes your low back worse, if at all, you round as you come into this. So we don't want to do that because it overextends the muscles here without straightening them or strengthening them. So instead, I'd rather have you have back of heart lift, tailbone lift, almost like a gorilla. So you bend your knees as much as you need to in order to come in and out of the pose. So my spine essentially stays straight and flat the whole time. Now, depending upon how much mobility you've got, you can do that with straight legs, but my back of my bum and my shoulders and my heart stay lifted the whole time. I bend my knees as much as I need to keep that levering in the spine. If I round in my upper thoracic spine at all, it's only going to make this situation worse. So we're going to take about 5 sets of these and see how that goes. Do we have any questions about that before we go on? Okay, so let's stand at the top of our space. Bring your right hand behind you, lift your left arm up. Take a big breath in here. And then exhale, start to hinge at the hips, coming forward, bending the knees as much as you need to. When you get all the way down, your left hand touches the floor, perhaps outside of your left foot. And then inhale, the fingers reach forward, back of heart lifts, head lifts, and come all the way back up to vertical. And we got one more just on this side. So exhaling, big long exhale is what hinges you forward into this shape, coming all the way down, fingers perhaps grazing the floor outside of left foot. And then inhale, reaching the fingers forward, back of the heart lifts, head lifts, spine comes up to vertical. And then exhaling, lowering that left arm down. And we'll go ahead and switch sides. Left hand comes to the back of the pelvis. Inhale, lift your right arm up. And then exhale, hinging at the hips. Back of heart leads forward. Tailbone lifts, spreading through your buttocks like a peacock. And then you'll inhale and come back up. Keep pressing into the big toe mounds as you do so, as your knees open out. Cool. One more time, just like that. And so what we're doing here is we're training our low back. We're both strengthening it as well as stretching it. And we're also training our abdominal walls to help support the natural curve of our low back. And then go ahead and lower that down. If that went okay for you, you can go ahead and try it with both arms up and overhead. Otherwise, you can just keep both hands at your hips. It's totally up to you, but you'll inhale and either lift the chest or lift the arms. Exhale, hinging at the hips, bending the knees as much as you need to, reaching out through the fingers and then bringing them down alongside the feet perhaps. And then reaching out through the fingers to come back up, or just lifting back of heart, lifting out through skull to come back up. Nice job. And then exhale, lower the arms. Cool. Let's see how all that comes into this now. So transfer all the weight to your left leg. Draw your right knee in, and you're going to give your little right foot shin thing a happy little hug. Bend your left knee. Cross your right leg completely over, and maybe the right foot touches the floor. Maybe your right toes hook around the back of your left calf. Go ahead and open your arms out, and then give yourself a hug with your left arm underneath and your right arm on top. You might stay right there, or you might bring the backs of the hands to touch. You might draw the fronts of the palms to touch. Oh, that didn't help the visual thing. And you'll just take a moment to pause. Nice job, guys. Next in breath, gently unwind. Release the right foot to the floor. Release the hands alongside your hips. Yay. Okay, let's try all that on the other side. Transfer the weight to your right foot like a little sandbag. All the weight goes over there. The left leg just floats up. Hands come to the front of your left shin. Now start to bend your right knee. Cross your left thigh up and over. And maybe the left toes touch the floor on the right side. Maybe they hook behind the back of the right calf. And then you'll wrap your right arm underneath, left arm on top. Give yourself a hug. Maybe backs of hands come together. Maybe palms touch. Nice job, guys. And can you be compassionate to yourself even as you notice the wobbles? Wobbles are okay. I can always say this is part of life. It's completely okay. Nice job. Next in breath, go ahead and unwind and come back up to stand. Take a moment to circle out shoulders, wiggle out the body, anything that feels like, oh God, better than that. Okay. And last thing before we finally do a Surya A. Okay. You might want to block between your shin bones. You might not. It's totally up to you. But we're going to sit for everyone's favorite pose for a few breath cycles and do some arm cycles while we're at it. So inhale, circle, sweep arms up and overhead. As you exhale, bend your knees and sit your bum back for chair pose. Take an inhalation here, reaching out through the fingers, lengthening back through the tail. As you exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach out through the fingers, sit the bum a little lower. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back, bend the elbows to a 90-degree angle. You got 3 more of those. Inhale, reaching out through the fingers. Exhale, pubic bone to belly button to spine, elbows bend. Nice job. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown, lengthen out through the fingers. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back, hug the pubic bone to belly button to spine. Last one. Inhale, reach up through the arms. This time, exhale, just squeeze the shoulders onto the back and stay here for 3. Stay here for 2. Lift the collarbones, lift the gaze for 1. Next, in breath, reach out through the arms, stretch up through the arms, stretch up through the legs. And exhale, lower the hands, and just take a moment to pause and breathe. Cool, that wasn't too bad. Let's add on. Remove your block. Great. Go ahead and turn to face the long. Actually, let's do this first. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and over your head. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, hands whatever way you want to get there. Great. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Now we're going to take 3 breath cycles here. Press down through the L shape of your hands, lift up through your inner armpits. Lower your pelvis, so your pelvis is in line with your shoulders. Lift yours a little bit, Barbara. And then, there you go. Lengthen your tailbone back. Draw your low belly in, and you've got 3 more breath cycles here. Imagine that block is on the back of your head again, and lift the back of your head straight up to the sky. Yep. Now for these last 2 breath cycles, you can stay here or you can shift your weight forward and hover for a breath cycle in chaturanga. If you do that, tailbone keeps lengthening back. Nice job. Inhale back to plank. And exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Notice what you notice and just take a moment to check in. Great. Okay, let's add on. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. As you exhale, squeeze into your midline. Yep. Inhale, lift that hip or that heel a little higher, and then exhale, quietly step your right foot between your hands. Step your left foot to the floor and come up for warrior 2. Left foot to the floor, warrior 2. Great. And then from here, you're just going to bend into your front knee. You're going to make sure your feet are far enough apart for you. So see if you need to adjust your legs either right to left or front to back. Yep. And then squeeze that outer back butt cheek. Let the front knee go forward. Great. Next, in breath, reach forward through your right hand. Swim your left arm up and over your head and take extended side angle. Maybe the right forearm rests on the top of the right thigh. Maybe the fingers touch the floor, but you're going to find 3 breath cycles here. And you're noticing that you can reach out through your left fingertips while hugging your left arm into the left shoulder, drawing your outer right hip back, and then rotating your right ribs forward and under, left ribs on top. Great. Take 1 more breath cycle here. Next inhalation, come back up for warrior 2. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor and pause. Now I highly encourage you to pad your back knee, but that's totally up to you. And then you'll lower the back knee to the floor. Some of you will wiggle walk your right foot to the right just a little bit. And then start to push down into your left hand and rotate your rib cage over towards the right. There we go. You might lift the right arm up. You might hang out there. You might roll to the knife edge of your right pinky toe. Yep. You might bend your back knee and grab the outside edge of your back foot, but you're taking a moment to be kind and compassionate to you. So noticing what your body needs and allowing yourself to do that. That recrimination without reproach. Doesn't matter what you're doing necessarily, but it does matter that you're breathing. It does matter that you're sending yourself good thoughts, sending yourself good energy. Nice job. If you're holding the back foot, gently release the back foot. If the right foot came off the floor, bring the sole of the foot to the floor, bring both hands to the inside edge of your right foot, tuck the back toes under, and step back, downward facing dog. Now you can choose to stay here, or you can come forward and hang out in plank. You can come forward and hang out in chaturanga. And if you're hanging out in plank or chaturanga, keep lengthening your tailbone back. Keep the back of your head lifted. And then those that are in chaturanga, you might take an up dog, and then we'll all move back to downward facing dog when you're ready. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and add on. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. As you exhale, quietly step that foot between your hands. Now spin your right foot to the floor and come up for warrior 2. And just as we did before, take the time you need to adjust. So your left knee is centered over the second and third toes of your left foot. The right leg is as far back as it needs to be so you can bend into that front knee. And then notice your hips. So if your hips are slightly swayed, let your shoulders also be slightly swayed. So a lot of you said that you're having low back issues. If the shoulders are over the hips, that takes out some of the torque in the spine. And so we want to let that happen. Yep. And then on your next in-breath, reach forward through your left arm and lower your left forearm to the top of the left thigh, fingertips to the floor or a block, and extend that right arm up and over your head. And then you've just got a few breath cycles here to pause. In this moment, in this shape, what small adjustments can you make in order to allow the body to feel more comfortable? How can you allow a little bit of small movements to find not only a greater sense of compassion for where the body is right now, but also a greater sense of clarity about where your own individual alignment is? You've got one more breath cycle here, seeing if you can draw those left ribs under. There you go, Erica. Reach out through the right fingers a little bit more, but at the same time, plug the right arm into the arm socket. Great. Inhale, go ahead and come back up to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands to the floor, come to a low lunge, framing your front foot. Now lower the back knee down towards the mat. You might wiggle walk your left foot over to the left a bit. Press down into the right hand and then start to revolve just your chest over to the left. And you might find that that's enough for you. You might find you want to lift your left arm towards the sky. You might want to bend your right knee and grab the outside edge of your right foot. Some of you may have rolled to the pinky toe edge of your left foot. Yep. And you're just pausing in your breathing and you're noticing what you notice. This side might be different than the others, and that's completely okay. If you're holding on to the back foot, mindfully release it. Draw the left sole of the foot back to the floor if it came off. Both hands to the floor inside your left foot, and then step yourself back to downward facing dog. I liked that, Roberta. You found your way into pigeon. And you're just going to take a moment to pause and breathe. And then lower your knees to the mat to child's pose. For this child's pose, I encourage you to bring your knees, ankles, and shins as close together as is comfortable for you. So all of your legs together, arms reaching up and overhead. And then you'll lift your gaze just enough to walk your hands over to the left. Yep. And then lower your head back in between your arms. Push down and forward through your right hand. Draw down and back through your right hip. And scoop the belly on the left side to roll your right shoulder a little bit more towards the floor. Nice. Inhale, go ahead and lift the gaze, look at the hands. And exhale, crawl the hands over to the right side. And again, lower the head in line with the arms. Press down and forward through the left fingertips. Draw the outer left hip back. Scoop the belly on the right side and roll your left shoulder more towards the floor. Nice job, guys. All right. Go ahead and inhale, lift the gaze and come back through center. Now shift your weight forward onto hands and knees. Lower your forearms down to the floor. Clasp your hands, interlacing the fingers. And so Tim, you were not here last week, but I think you can do this. We're going to walk our elbows in a little bit closer than you would think. So first find the elbows directly underneath the shoulders and then walk them inside of that, maybe about an inch, half an inch. Push down into your forearms, your elbows, and start to push them wide until you feel the skin catch the floor, the mat beneath you. Now tuck both sets of toes under, round your spine like an angry Halloween cat, and then keep rounding your spine, keep the toes tucked under, start to straighten your legs and lift your hips, walking your feet towards your face. Now, the more you can push down through the forearms, rounding through your upper spine like a angry Halloween cat. Oh, look at that, Roberta. That looks nice. Nice, Barbara. Nice, Steve. Nice, Erica. Nice, Julie. Nice, Robin. Nice, Sandy. Nice, Jenny. Good job, guys. Nice, Tim. You'll just notice how you can breathe here, and you'll stay as long as is comfortable for you. When your breath starts becoming idiosyncratic, you come down. You come down. So we're just going to keep our feet on the floor for a moment. Don't worry, I'll give you another chance to try it. We just want to find the stability first. And then gently, you'll come all the way down to child's pose. Bring your hands back alongside your hips for embryo pose, and we'll pause and we'll wait. Nice, Steve. And you're just pausing and breathing. So we're taking this moment. I found this very helpful from my teacher. He says we want to take time before we do an inversion to calm the nervous system, because otherwise it becomes a little precarious to get up there. So we're just taking that time. We're going to get there. We're not in a rush. We're being self-compassionate. We got all the time in the world. Whatever time we're taking is the time we need. Okay. All right, go ahead and come up to sit. We're going to try that again. If you think that you want to lift one leg, I encourage you to go to a wall. Otherwise, you can just stay exactly as you are, and that's completely fine. We're being self-compassionate. It does not matter. The fate of the world is not determined by whether or not we lift a leg up to the sky. Not at all. But if you are going to try to lift a leg, please have a wall space behind you. Do I need to show this, or are we good? We're good? Okay. So let's go ahead and come down to forearms and knees again. Interlace your hands. First, find your shoulders directly over your elbows, and then walk your elbows inside of that space about an inch. Now push down through the forearms and wide through the forearms until your skin catches the mat. Tuck your chin to your chest, tuck your toes under, and become a Halloween cat rounding through your upper spine. There we go, Sandy. Now start to lift your hips high and straighten the legs as much as you want. Now you want to stay that angry Halloween cat, so rounding through the upper spine, and then you can start to walk your feet in as much as you want to. And then you might lift one leg up. Yep. And then you might lift the other leg up. Jenny, round through the spine a lot. Round, yeah, there you go. Nice, Jenny. Oh, baby's gonna bring you down. Keep rounding through your spine, lift up through your tailbone. Nice, Robin. Robin, push down through your forearms even more and lift up through your, there you go, and lift up through your happy armpits. And then when you're done experimenting, you're gonna just rest in child's pose, arms alongside your hips. Erica, that looked like that went pretty well for you. Yeah. And Barbara, you too. It seemed like that went good for your shoulders. Yeah, cool. And then you're just gonna pause here. We're just gonna be still. Okay. And then crawl yourself onto your belly for Nakrasana, crocodile pose. I know that when I do that, I feel a lot of energy moving up into my head. And for those of us that are Vata, so I've started a course that's having me talking more about Ayurveda, and Steve mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I didn't explain to you exactly what that is. So come down onto your belly, stack your hands on top of each other, draw your forehead to your hands, and draw the big toes to touch and let the heels open out. So Ayurveda is often called the sister science of yoga. They both fall under the umbrella of Tantra. And there's just a philosophy about how you can work with the body, how you can work with the energies. Vata is one of the doshas, which there are 3 of them, and they're just basically called things that are imbalanced. I'll have a long discussion about this later, but in essence, a lot of us are Vata deranged, as Judith Hanson Lassiter likes to call it, meaning we like to go, 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 go. And the thing that we really need to do is ground and stabilize. So that's what you're doing right here in this moment. We'll just take 2 more breath cycles here. And then we'll try to stabilize our necks to make sure we're okay to go on with the rest of our days. So go ahead and bring your hands to your low back, stacking your hands right on top of each other. Palms face up. Okay. Now these are going to be our little navel salutes, and we'll just start by introducing the legs and then introducing the arms. So inhale, lift your right leg up and back. And exhale, lower the right leg down. And then inhale, lift the left leg up. And exhale, lower the left leg down. Now inhale, lift the right leg up, swim the left arm forward and give me a navel Popeye Captain salute. And then exhale, swim the left arm back, lower the left cheek to the mat, lower the right leg to the mat. Okay, try that on the other side. Inhale, swim your right arm forward, lift your left leg up, navel salute. And exhale, swim the right arm back, right cheek to the mat, left leg down. And you've got 4 more sets on your own. So inhale, lifting right arm, left leg. And exhale, lowering left cheek, swimming the arm back. And inhale, other side. And so you'll continue to take these on your own. And I encourage you to really reach out through the fingers. So the more that you can reach out through the fingers, the more you traction out the neck, the more you can traction out the shoulder joint. So making that circle as long and as seamless as you possibly can make it is a little bit of the necessary PT work to help you build strength on the back as well as decompress the spine. Nice job, guys. Nice, Julie. And see if you can, nice, Robin. See if you can let all of that coordinate at the same time. Robin, head goes other way. There you go. And then once you've done your 4 sets, you'll just take a moment to pause and breathe. Letting one cheek come to the mat if that feels better to you, or just letting your forehead rest. Awesome sauce, guys. Extend your right arm alongside your ears and roll over onto your backs. And now that you're on your backs, just go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Open your arms out into a T shape, right to left. Okay, step your feet in enough that you can push down through your feet, lift your pelvis up and slide your butt over to the left. Once your butt goes to the left, put the butt down, lift the left leg up, cross the left thigh over the right, and then let both legs fall over towards the right. So you might need to walk your right foot a little bit to the left. And you're just going to stay here for about 3 to 5 breaths. And again, noticing how deep you can breathe into the upper armpits, the ribs, the collarbones. And then that engagement comes from slight belly coming in and now twisting to the left. One more deep, steady breath cycle here. And then on your next in-breath, you'll come back up through center, uncross your legs, re-square your pelvis underneath your shoulders, planting the feet on the floor. And we'll try that on the other side. So push through your feet, lift your hips, slide them over to the right. Lift the right leg up, cross it over. You might need to walk your left leg to the right, and then let both legs fall over towards the left. Just take a few moments to breathe and pause here. And we're just noticing, where do we feel spaciousness in the body? Where do we feel the breath? What are we needing in this moment? What I found most interesting about Neff's work is this notion that being self-compassionate doesn't mean that we're going to let go of our motivation to try things, to strive to improve ourselves. Instead, it seems to be the key to do that. In your next in-breath, you'll go ahead and come back up through center. Uncross the legs, draw the feet onto the floor, make sure your hips and your shoulders are in one alignment. Okay, now from here, just cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, actively flex through that foot a lot, and then draw the whole configuration of your legs towards your chest. Grab the back of your right thigh, front of your right shin, and hello, Sukhi Randrasana, we have missed you. And then you're going to draw the shoulder blades down the back. Keep flexing through that left ankle, pressing the left ankle into your right thigh, drawing the toes in alignment with your left knee. And you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. Pause and breathe. What are you noticing in your breath in this moment? Where can you take in a deeper breath? What are you noticing in the sensations of the body? Where can you send your energy to allow something to soften, to release, to let go, to open? Self-compassion, as she defines it, is this kindness to self with this fierce clarity, this fierce honesty for knowing what it is that we might need to do next, but not being mean to ourselves in the process of it or of pursuing it. We got one more breath cycle here. And then as you're ready, you'll gently release the hands, draw the right foot to the floor, draw the left foot to meet its mate, and just notice if you notice anything between the sides before you skip on to the next. And then when you're ready, you'll try the other side. So you'll cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh, actively flex through that foot, and then draw the configuration of your legs towards your face. Hand comes to the back of left thigh, front of left shin. And you continue to flex through that right ankle, pressing the right ankle into the top of the left thigh into the outer right ankle. Breathing wherever you happen to sense that there's tightness, that there's stuckness. Sending your breath lovingly to these parts allows them to open up. Whereas if we restrict our breath, if we say mean thoughts to our hip, oh, hip, you should be more open, that's not going to help it open. And yet we talk to ourselves like that in so many other instances of life. You got one more breath cycle here. And then very gently, you'll release the hands. You'll draw the left foot to the floor. You'll draw the right foot to the floor. And then in honor of Alexander and the other little babies in your lives, you're going to draw your knees into your chest. Bring your hands to the inner edges of your thighs. Grab the outer edges of your feet and take happy baby, Ananda Balasana. And you might be happy babies rocking and rolling from right to left. You might be happy babies that are complete stillness. But how can we return to that childlike wonder where we just are curious, we're engaged, but we're still parenting ourselves in that way where we're being kind, we're being compassionate, we're being loving to whatever we happen to experience and embody moment to moment, breath to breath. When you feel complete being a happy baby, do whatever other final shapes might feel comfortable or enlivening or nurturing to you. And then we'll make our way to our final resting pose. So do whatever feels best to you. Nice. And as you begin to settle into your final shape, we're going to take a few moments here to just settle into the floor first. So just as we did at the very beginning, notice how the body feels now against the floor, seeing if you can let go of everything and really receive the support beneath you. And a request was made that we do something to help clear any blockages in our subtle body And so we're going to work with a specific energetic technique to do that. So I'd like you to just let the body first relax as best as you can, letting yourself observe how the breath is at this moment, letting it return to an involuntary state where it feels like the breath can just do as the breath does. And then very intentionally, we're going to marry our intention to this natural flow of our breath. So the next time you breathe in, your awareness travels from the base of your spine towards the crown of your head. And the next time you breathe out, your awareness travels back down towards the base of the spine. And the task is just simply noticing that you can connect your breath and your awareness, as well as you can connect your awareness and your breath. So every time the body breathes in, your awareness travels up the spine. And every time the body breathes out, your awareness travels back down. At any point in time, if you notice your mind becoming distracted, no worries, simply notice that. And then come back to the intention to connect your attention with the involuntary movement of your breath. Inhaling, drawing the awareness up, and exhaling, allowing it to settle back down. So continue to repeat this on your own for a few more minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Gently release the technique and just return your awareness. As you come back, take 3 big breaths, letting them be soft, letting them be easy. If you feel comfortable, you might choose to stay here. Otherwise, start to invite some small movement into fingers and toes, allowing yourself to wiggle, to yawn, to stretch in whatever way feels best to you. As you're ready, start to make your way over to your right side. Gently, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor, press into your left hand, and draw yourself to a tall, comfortable seat. And when you're elevated, you'll just take the opportunity to sit super tall and well, maybe elevating bum on block or blanket. And mostly due to time constraints, we're just going to take just a few minutes to settle before we go on to the rest of our days. So, to do that, I'd like you to first notice where you feel your breath most clearly in your body. Do you register it in the nose? Do you register it in the chest? Is it in the abdomen? Wherever your breath happens to be most alive, most vibrant to you, just allow your awareness to rest there. You'll spend the next 3 to 5 breath cycles just watching the breath as it is right now in this moment. Noticing the texture of the breath, noticing its speed, noticing the volume of the breath. This act of watching the breath just as it is, without attempting to manipulate or change anything about it, provides us with some insight. The insight that we can gain from just observing the breath allows us to notice where we have patterns of tension, of tightness. It also starts to teach us about the patterns of the mind where we have tension, where we have tightness. And it's simply through that observation, that non judgmental observation, that we're starting to train ourselves in how to be kinder and more compassionate towards ourselves, and how to be kinder and more compassionate to those that we love. It doesn't mean that we give up striving or improving ourselves in any way. It just simply means that we let go of any of the harshness. We invite in a bit more gentleness. So for these last few breaths, I encourage you to just notice where you can continue to soften in your body as you continue to sit tall through the spine. Guide your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and lift your heart towards your hands. Allow your chin to soften towards your chest. And we'll just take a moment here in this internal reverence, or this pose of internal reverence, to just say a prayer of gratitude towards ourselves for having taken the time to show up on our mat, taken the time to breathe and be with our body and all the sensations and thoughts and feelings, taking the time to be with each other. The light within me honors and salutes the light within each of you. Namaste.